HectorAguilar. Born and raised in both sides, you may say, okay, here and there in Mexico, and immigrated completely in 20 years ago. More than that, 25, 30. I'm 50 years old, so I can remember a lot of stuff. Started training since I was about 12, 14 years of age. Started with boxing. Was interested in martial arts, and I bumped into Taekwondo. A friend of mine introduced me to Taekwondo. And then my instructor in Taekwondo from Mexico, Antonio, my gosh, I can't remember his last name. Guy was good, open-minded regarding points of view of all styles. He never taught us the Taekwondo, but he was open about it regarding, all styles and different styles, with the opportunity to play with the other ones, like mix styles of martial arts. Then from there on, it just.
So what year was that?
Oh Lord, 86, 87 maybe, somewhere out there. 86, 87. And in 90s, that's when we started hearing, fighters against fighters, boxers against karate guys, and who's better, a karate guy or a boxer?
So by this time you were already doing competition.
I was already
in gyms.
Yes. By the time that I actually went like 20 years when I got married and I had my kids, I was already had like about 20 years into the martial arts. I was already in it, and then after that I kept on training, kept in dealing with different styles and meeting guys from different styles and judo, wrestling, golden gloves, you name it. And my older brother, he's also golden gloves, and he's also good on the jiu-jitsu, and he's a gymnastic instructor, and he coaches gymnastics and jiu-jitsu also, and we opened up together. He opened up the first gym, and I just jumped in with him just to help him out on the event, and that's when basically it starts right there. Before the UFC, before mixed martial arts, anybody could mix 2-3 martial arts and call it their own style. You know what I'm saying? That's how a lot of styles were born back in the day. And since MMA, became a sport, everything is MMA now. You mix this with that, it's MMA. And that's it. It's over for anybody trying to create their own name or their own style. You know what I'm saying? And in the process, we were doing wrestling, Greco-Roman wrestling, and judo techniques. You know what I'm saying? It's not until he started messing around with the jiu-jitsu, and I used to beat my brother on the floor. You know what I'm saying? Before. And then he comes back from the Gracies, and he's like, come over here. And that's it. He chokes me out 5 times within less than 2 minutes. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going like, hey, what's going on? And playing around with my own mixed for years, and mixing along and exposing myself. I tend to grab my own mixture, per se. My own style. Mm-hmm. I made my own martial art, per se. But in that principle, I wasn't that sure on the floor. It wasn't until my brother exposed me to the jiu-jitsu that the format that I was playing around was completed. It felt complete once jiu-jitsu came in. It's like we're missing something in the formula. But, awesome. This is what it was missing. And then,
so you would say from that time, you started creating your own style, and you did that for a time. When was it when you said, let me start taking on students?
Yeah, that's when my brother actually, I always taught friends, family members, and co-workers. They found out that I knew martial arts, and I will help them out. Just some of them I got to teach, charge. Some of them was just for free, friends and family members. And my brother opened up a gym, and he said, "I'm going to open up a gym. You know, are you interested in helping me out?" So I told him, "Of course, man. You know, of course I'm going to help you out." Like, what do you want to teach? You want to teach Taekwondo? Do you want to teach, you know, something different, or do we go fitness? And I told him, you know what? Let's go MMA. Let's go MMA. Let's go MMA. And then when he opened up the gym, MMA in the state of California was not sanctioned. Okay, there was no camo, you know, organization. There was no restrictions here or there and there. You wanted to go into the cage, you go professional level. That's it. First fight you had, it was pro. Regardless what was your background, you were jumping into a professional fight right there. And back in the day, I'm talking about early '90s, somewhere around there, and that was going to happen because, you know, there was already events being done under you know, under the table in certain areas and empty warehouses and other gyms were doing, you know, private events like this. So it was sooner or later it was going to come out, you know, and it did, because that change was already happening, you know, until they brought it out to the open and said, you know, let's everybody see what the changes are happening, and you know, that's when the MMA came into the UFC, you know, came into play and gave birth to now what we now see as MMA.
So how do you see the UFC today? How do you see it?
I love it. I mean, I love it. I mean, I try to follow it. Try, you know. I mean, I got my opinions regarding the salsa and the crema, you know, on all these events and stuff like that. Yeah, it's part of the show, you know. It's people go pay to see us perform.
Just to go back a little, back in those early '90s, or when did Combat Concepts was created?
Combat Concept was
always there.
It was the concept was there. The concept has always been there. And when my brother opened up the first gym, he called it Aguilar's Training Center because we were two brothers. And you know, I helped them out, and we developed our first generation of guys, and our first fights were professional fights. You know, we ended up cornering professionally. We ended up coaching professionally. So in that matter, we didn't have no problem because my brother has competed at high level, and I also competed at Taekwondo and high levels, you know, big tournaments and stuff like that. And a lot of injuries came out of that, both of us. But we know what to do. We actually knew how to push somebody and take him to a point, and we actually took our first fight. Our fighter actually took it under 6 months of training, and we just downloaded everything we had just for him to survive the match. You know, we like 6 months of training, dude. This guy was like never boxed, never put a glove in his life, and the 6 months of training, me and my brother pushed him to the point that our first fight wasn't the win. We lost. But we lost up against, not to a better fighter, but it was a pretty good match. And our fighter was all happy because he said, dude, I cannot believe I actually went all these rounds. I went, exactly. And it could have gone points, but he got caught on a back choke. You know, so it's like, okay, it's over. But that's basically how we started with my brother. Once he closed the shop, because of a lot of issues and you know, everybody goes through life issues. But once he closed the gym, we had all this generation of fighters that still wanted to fight. All these guys that were training hard and they started pushing the issue. We want to compete. So we started going to grappling events, and we were training from garage to garage. Because my brother closed the gym, so we didn't have no place to train. We had our other friends with other gyms, so you know, we borrow the floor, boom, boom, boom. We borrow their floor, and then to the point that we were about a certain amount of guys that we ended up renting a small place, and we were not open for business. We were just private fight club. It was a fight club. We were training just to compete. All the guys in there, and you know what I'm saying? People were looking at us through the window in the door and like, what is this? It's martial arts. How can we join? We're not open for business. We're not open for you guys. We're not even open for business. This is private. This is privately. And we enjoyed it for a while. Sometimes I feel like going back. but actually that's how the gym started.
So what would you say is the main message you give your students today?
The same principle. A white belt, what was it, the old saying? What determines or what makes what is a black belt? A white belt that never stop. And that is the key to everything. Don't stop. Don't stop. You want to start a business? Don't stop. You want to start this? Don't stop. Do it. Don't think about it. Don't hesitate about it. Don't. Yes, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna struggle. It's gonna be pains, and they're gonna be scratches and burns and you name it. But if you stop, you quit. You're not a loser, but you're a quitter. I'm saying, and that's a problem with a lot of people, even the young people. Oh, I'm a blue belt. Oh, I'm a green belt. Oh, this, and they're right there, and that's it. They think they're all that now. It's like, no, you're not going to stop. Keep going. And once the gym started competing and growing, people were knocking at the door. That's when we decided, you know what? Let's just open the doors. Just open the doors. Let people come. Let's start teaching everybody. Let them take people. See if there's people out here that really want to come. And then from there on, we just started growing and growing and growing. And everybody that trained with us in a couple of months. I just want to train to lose weight. 6 months later, can you give me a fight? Say, what? So you just want to lose weight? Nice. You know what I'm saying? But it's the method of teaching the person not to stop, not to quit, not to make an excuse and say, you got hurt in the round.